The first time I saw the beach, I actually laughed out loud, partly because it looked like something out of a summer postcard, partly because I couldn't believe my luck. A private stretch of sand, quiet lake lapping the shore, all hidden behind a wall of tangled hedges, and a private property sign so old it was practically growing moss. And, supposedly, it was mine, all thanks to Uncle Ron, the family's black sheep. The man folks whispered about, but never really knew. Along with the deed, he'd left a note: "Don't trust the HOA. You'll see why." At the time, I just figured it was another one of his wild stories. Man, was I wrong. I'd barely unpacked 3 days when I saw it, a full-blown beach party. Right there on my land. Folding chairs, umbrellas, volleyball net, kids yelling, dogs barking, couples sunbathing. I stood on the path with my mouth hanging open, clutching the deed and trying to figure out if I was dreaming or just the world's dumbest heir. I walked down and called out, loud enough to rattle seagulls, "Hey, who gave you permission to be here?" Everyone froze, caught mid-sneak like kids stealing cookies. Out marched this woman, big sunglasses, floppy hat, attitude for days. "This is HOA property, sir," she said, all clipped and nasal. "You can't just walk in without checking with us." I showed her the deed. "I literally own this land," I said, voice shaky but clear. She just sniffed. "I don't think so. This is part of the Green Lake Shores HOA common area. Been that way for years." I introduced myself, told her my uncle had left me the lot. Parcel 34. Did she want to see the county records? For a split second, she looked worried, but she recovered fast. "Loretta Oakley, HOA president. We've managed this beach for over 15 years. So maybe you're mistaken." I pulled out the plat map. "Nope. You're using private property, my property, and charging people to use it." Her smile went icy. "We collect a small recreational maintenance fee." I didn't miss a beat. "You're charging folks to use my beach?" Heads were turning now. She lowered her voice. "You're new here. You don't understand how things work." "I understand property law." I shot back. "And this smells a lot like trespassing and fraud." Loretta spun around and stormed off, tossing over her shoulder, "You'll be hearing from the HOA." That night, I set up trail cams on every entrance just to see how deep this rabbit hole went. Within a week, I had footage, HOA board members unlocking gates, collecting cash, even holding exclusive yoga classes for a fee. I took the footage to the next HOA meeting. Stuffed clubhouse, Loretta up front, droning on about beach renovations and raising dues. I waited, then stood up. "You mean the beach you've been illegally profiting off for 15 years? You could hear a pin drop. I handed a USB to the secretary. "Play the file." The room went dark. Projector flickered on. And there they were, board members collecting cash, unlocking my fence, bragging about fleecing newcomers. Loretta's face went from peach to tomato. "This is taken out of context." "Really?" I said, "because I've got timestamps, county records, and a lawyer on standby." The place exploded. A guy in the front row stood up. "Wait, you own the beach?" "All of it. Every inch," I said, "and I'm done with the HOA stealing from the neighborhood on my land." Loretta tried to shut it all down, but the damage was done. People whipped out phones, started filming, whispering. She hissed as I left, "You have no idea who you're messing with." I leaned in, grinning. "Neither do you." 3 days later, a letter appeared, taped to my door, on HOA letterhead, unsigned. "Cease unauthorized interference with community operations or further action will be taken." I rolled my eyes and called my cousin Lyle, a zoning officer who owed me big for helping him move a busted hot tub. He showed up that afternoon, sunglasses on, clipboard ready, exuding mild disdain like a cologne. After watching the footage, he said, "They've got no easement, no lease, no rights. This is a mess." I pressed him. "They've been running a business on my land, charging for rentals and leaving the gear locked behind my shed." He nodded. "Want me to open a code enforcement investigation?" "Absolutely. Brace yourself," he said. "They'll fight dirty. This blows up everything they've built." I knew he was right. What I didn't know was just how deep it all went. Later that week, I got a call from Lisa Morales' attorney for 3 homeowners who'd paid thousands over the years for beach improvements. She'd seen the meeting footage. It had gone semi-viral in a Facebook group and wanted to meet. At a diner on the edge of town, she handed me a folder, bank transfers, receipts, even a Venmo screenshot, beach access pass for Miller Family Summer. She suspected embezzlement, racketeering, tax fraud. We're filing a class action. We'll need you as a witness. I said yes before I'd even finished my pie. 2 days later, 2 men showed up, bolting brand new signs along the path. Green Lake Shores Community Beach, HOA members only. Violators will be prosecuted. I wandered over, coffee in hand. You got a permit for that? The younger guy with a neck tattoo and a too-tight polo muttered. HOA authorization. This land isn't HOA property, I said, pointing to the marker. You're trespassing. The older guy looked weary. We're just doing what we're told. I started recording on my phone. Then tell your boss the cops will see this. And take those signs down. 5 minutes, or I start calling code violations. They yanked the signs before I even finished my coffee. That night, someone egged my truck, dozens of eggs. Everywhere. I called the police and got Detective Rhonda Tran, an old friend from high school, now working property crimes. She walked the perimeter with me. This isn't just vandalism, she said. I've got 3 other cases. Folks who crossed the HOA got their mailboxes ripped out. A dead raccoon on one porch. They lean hard on intimidation. But this is real theft. With a paper trail. I'm opening a formal investigation. If they're pocketing fees, that's grand larceny. I just nodded. I was done being surprised now. I was just mad. By week's end, subpoenas had gone out. HOA board forced to turn over financials. What came back was a disaster. Missing funds, forged invoices, checks to fake companies. Loretta's name was everywhere. Turns out, one of the companies was a P.O. box owned by her nephew. They'd been laundering money through fake landscaping and maintenance for years. The town council called an emergency meeting. Packed room. Residents whispering. Some filming. Councilwoman Delaney Tuff. Sharp. Former prosecutor led the charge. We have substantial evidence of fraud. Embezzlement. Unauthorized use of private property. Loretta protested. Tight-lipped. Baseless accusations fabricated by someone who doesn't understand the community. Delaney cut her off. $75,000 missing isn't a misunderstanding. That's theft. Delaney asked if I'd help transition the property to a protected green space owned by me. No HOA control. Clear regulations. As long as everyone knows any past HOA use was illegal, and I get restitution for damage. She nodded. Already in motion. Charges will be filed. The mood shifted. Shock. Then relief. Even some clapping. 2 deputies walked Loretta out. Quietly. After showing her a warrant. She didn't say a word. That night, I sat on my porch. Alone. Listening to the lake for once. No volleyball nets. No yoga mats. Just silence. The place actually felt like mine. But the show wasn't over. Next morning, I come back from breakfast, and there's a city crew digging on my lawn. Emergency maintenance. Whose order? I ask. Green Lake Shores Residential Authority. I laughed. That doesn't exist. You're on private land. Whatever this is, it's illegal. They showed me fake documents. I called Tran. Don't confront them. Just film and wait. She said. I did. Police rolled up. Crew had no valid permits. The paperwork matched another fraud case. Work stopped on the spot. That's when I realized Loretta's grip was never just about power. It was about shielding something rotten. I met with Lisa, Ted, a retired firefighter, and Naomi, single mom. Folder of statements. They'd all been paying insurance premiums for liability coverage the insurance company had never heard of. They took nearly $3,000 from me. Ted said. Lisa looked at me. We're building a criminal case. Wire fraud. False representation. Insurance fraud. Ted nodded. What kind of sentence? If it sticks. 20 years. Maybe more. It was worse than we thought. The money trail led to a fake landscaping company, a phony security firm, and a consultant in Nevada. Then Glenn Roker, A former board member showed up at my door, pale, sweating. I need to get this off my chest. We faked the shoreline erosion reports, used doctored photos to collect emergency assessments. Loretta used that money to buy a condo in Clearwater. Paid in cash. He handed over a flash drive, emails, receipts, flight logs. Lisa took it to the state attorney. Things moved fast. Loretta's house searched. Her condo seized. Her nephew arrested trying to skip town with prepaid debit cards. The news broke local TV. Live from the beach. HOA fraud scheme uncovered. Victims everywhere. Board members resigned. A trustee took over. One morning, a line formed outside my gate. Not angry, just neighbors wanting something better. Ted and Naomi handed me a petition, over 80 signatures. Help us form a new association, not an HOA. Just something transparent. Community-led. I said yes. But only if we wrote bylaws that made Loretta's kind of scam impossible. We did. No dues. No fines. Just neighbors. Got a grant to restore the shoreline for real. I kept the beach private, but opened it for daylight community use. No fees. No games. Just respect. 3 months later. Loretta's trial. She looked smaller. Suit too big. Flanked by lawyers who looked beat before it started. The courtroom was packed. Glenn, Naomi, Ted, Lai, all testified. When it was my turn, I looked Loretta in the eye. She didn't just steal money, she stole trust. Safety. Used fear to control people. All for profit. The judge didn't hesitate. 23 years for Loretta, 15 for her nephew. Others took deals and paid restitution. Outside, Lisa said, "You did good. You turned a neighborhood scam into a statewide case study." I shrugged. Didn't plan on it. Nobody ever does. But people know now. That matters. Back home, for the first time, the beach felt like what it was meant to be. Kids rode past on bikes. Neighbors waved. No one charging admission. And I thought, sometimes justice actually lands where it should. But just when I thought it was over, I got the audit's final report. There, buried in the appendix, money was funneled not just through shell companies, but offshore, under an alias. Federal crimes, wire fraud, tax evasion, international laundering. The name wasn't Loretta's. It was Carlton Avery, consultant on those fake invoices. Lisa called the U.S. attorney. IRS and FBI swooped in. Avery got caught trying to flee. Suitcase full of cash. Fake passport. Turns out, he'd been bouncing between states for years. Conning HOAs. None had beachfront. Or someone willing to fight. Loretta played right into his hands. This time, the trial was federal big courthouse. Higher stakes. I testified. So did the IRS. Loretta tried to play the victim, but the prosecution played a tape of her laughing about milking the beach. The jury took 2 hours, guilty on all counts. Carlton got 30 years. Loretta another 16 plus restitution. A month later, I was asked to speak at a municipal panel. Not as an expert, just the guy who didn't let it slide. The beach turned into a real community space. Benches, native plants, a plaque, Green Lake Preserve. Privately protected. Community shared. We held a cleanup. No talk of fines. Just music. Root beer. Laughter. Ted joked. Took a federal indictment to get us a real beach. I said, sometimes the storm clears more than it destroys. Naomi started a community garden by the trail. By midsummer, the place had a rhythm again. Not perfect, but real neighbors arguing over plant height. Settling it with handshakes. Not lawsuits. The city sent a commendation letter. A reporter wrote, "The beach that fought back." But honestly, the best part was the peace. Old couples strolling. Kids building driftwood forts. No one barking about rules. Tran stopped by on patrol and said, "Never thought I'd see Green Lake shores free of fear." I smiled. Guess I just wanted to protect what I was given, make it right. That's the lesson. I think you never know how deep the rot goes until you start digging. Power corrupts, but people, working together, can clean up the mess. You just can't do it by looking the other way, or by letting someone else decide what's fair. Sometimes you've got to be the stubborn fool who asks for receipts, even if everyone laughs at you. So, What's justice? Anyway, is it locking up the crooks? Or is it making sure no one like them ever gets that power again? Where's the line between neighborly trust and letting yourself get fleeced? I'm still figuring that out. Maybe you've seen something like this or worse. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me your own battle for what's right, or where you think the line should be. I want to hear, because if there's one thing I learned, it's that stories like this, they're never just about one beach. They're about all of us.